Good morning. We're on to Lesson 8 Notes, Sinusoidal Regression. This works the exact same as all the other regressions that you've worked, but now we're dealing with curves that are repetitive in nature, kind of like a wave that we've been working on the last few days. So I'll just go through one example here so you remember how to put it all in your calculator. Make sure you do put your calculator in radian mode, so maybe we'll do that first. You should have done it previously already, but if you didn't, you're just going to hit mode and then scroll down and make sure radian is highlighted. Okay, so sinusoidal regression, the example we're going to go through is in 2011, the Singapore Flyer was the largest Ferris wheel in the world. The table below gives the height of a rider from the ground at different times. So if you think of a Ferris wheel spinning around, you're going to kind of go up high and then down low, and then up high and then down low, which is going to kind of track the sinusoidal pattern if you graph it. So all the information's in the chart here, and you'll see in your notes I've kind of labeled what you need to do. So remember, your time will go into your list 1, your height will go into your list 2. So let's put that into our calculator. You're going to go into Stat, Edit, and enter in your data that you discovered there. So we're going to go into Stat, Edit. You probably have old stuff in there, so remember to clear your list. You're going to go to the top, hit Clear, and then Enter. Move over, go up to the top, hit Clear, and then hit Enter. And now you can enter in all of your data. So list 1, let's try and go through it kind of fast. You're going to enter in all your data points. Okay, and then into list 2, that's all your different times that they reported the information. Then we're going to enter in our height. Okay, so now all our information is listed there. So we're going to go back over here. Enter the data into your graphing calculator. We already did that. We want to determine the equation of a sinusoidal regression function that will model the data. So it tells us it's sinusoidal, or you think about the pattern and probably guess that it's sinusoidal. So you're going to go into Stat, Calc, and then it's called Sine Regression. Make sure you hit the right one. Okay, so Stat, over to Calc, and then I'm going to scroll down until I see Sine Regression. There it is. I'm going to hit Enter, and again, 2 different types of calculators. Newer ones will see this screen, and you might have to scroll down to where it says Store. If you don't have that screen and it just says, I believe it says Calculate, then you're just going to keep going from this point on without hitting any other buttons. You're going to go to Bars, to Y bars, hit Enter, Enter, and that's going to store that exact equation into your Y1 so you can graph it and get accurate results. Then we can go down to Calculate. And again, it tells you how to set up the equation here. So make sure you sub in the values. You're going to sub in 246 for A. I think I said round to the nearest thousandth. So that's going to be 3 numbers after the decimal for your B value. Then we have a C value and we have a D value. You just plug it in and that gives you your equation. So you should get when I rounded this equation for your graph. And that question is done. Then you just have to read the questions and determine what they're actually looking for, and then you can use your graph to figure it out. So it says determine Jordy's height after 32.68 minutes. So it tells me a time, it tells me my x value is 32.68, so we can easily get that from our graph. So let's actually look and see what our graph looks like. Before I actually graph it, I like to change my window settings so I know I'll see everything I need to see. And I use that table of values to help me. So my x, my time, goes all the way up to 74. So I want to make sure my max, I'm going to say 100, just so I can make sure I have enough there. Then my y values go all the way up to 541. So let's do a y max of 700. I'll make this -10 just for fun. And I'll make a scale of 100. That should give me the proper graph. There we go. So that's the height. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down on that Ferris wheel. Okay, so now we can answer the question. It says determine Jordy's height after 32.68 minutes. We have the x values. So you can go second calc and then go to value, that first one there, and then enter in whatever x value you like. And it'll say that your height, your y value is 112.3 when I round it at that time. And make sure you include units, the feet, if it's applicable for the question. Include any units that are required. Okay, next one says, how many minutes have passed once Jordy reaches a height of 500 feet for the third time? So it's telling me my height now, so my y value is 500. So when you have your y value, this is where you plot it in for your y2, and you find your point of intersection. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the calculator. We're going to go into our y equals. You can see that original equation is stored there. For y2, I'm going to put 500. I'm going to look at my graph. Now you're going to think about it. We want to know when he reaches a height of 500 feet for the third time. So it starts here. He goes up, reaches 500 feet, that's the first time. Reaches 500 feet, that's the second time. Goes back down and then comes back up and reaches 500 feet for the third time here. So I want to find this point of intersection. So now I'm going to go into second calc, and I want to find that third intersection. So I'm going to go down to number 5 where it says intersect. And we're going to say first curve, second curve, yes. And now you have to make a guess. This is the one I want the third time it hits 500. And you can now see that your time is approximately 52.051, etc. So my point of intersection was this. And so my answer, if I round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 decimal places, it's going to be 52.05. And again, include your units. We're talking in minutes. So after 52 minutes, it's a long Ferris ride. He's going to hit a height of 500 feet for the third time. Okay, next one. Jordy got on the Singapore Flyer at noon and rode it for 2 consecutive rotations. His friend Yale was in a building directly across from the Singapore Flyer at a height of 400 feet. At what times was Jordy level with Yale? So basically, I want to see when Jordy was at exactly 400 feet, which is your y value. So I'm going to plot in my y2 400 this time. And then it tells me that we've done 2 rotations. So we're going to actually see his friend several times as it goes up and down and up and down. Okay, so let's go into our calculator. You're going to go into y equals now. Instead, our y2 is going to be 400 this time. That's the height that his friend is at in the window. And now we know he goes through 2 full rotations. So he starts here and he gets on, he goes up, and then he goes down. That's 1 rotation. And now he's going to go up and he's going to go down. That will be 2 rotations. So you can see that there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 times that he's going to see his friend in the window. So we have to find 4 different points of intersection. I'll just do the first one again as a little practice, but then you can go on and do the next one as well. So we're going to go to second calc. You're going to go down to intersect, 5th one down. I'm going to figure out that first one, so I'm going to move a little bit closer to it. Okay, so first curve, yes. Second curve, yes. And I want to find this first point of intersection, and I can see it's at 11.846, etc. So that's my first point of intersection. So you can see here that your x, if I round to the nearest minute, my x is going to be 12 minutes. And then I'm going to figure out the other 3. I'm going to find the point of intersection for each of those other 3 spots. And you should get 25.153. You should get 48.846. and you should get 62.153. So from there, I can see this is going to round to about 25 minutes. This one here is going to round to 49 minutes. And this one here is going to round to 62 minutes. But it asks me specifically for what time. And it tells me he got on at noon. So he got on at 12 o'clock. So the first time he'll see his friend is 12 minutes after 12. So 12:12. Next time you'll see him is going to be at 12:25, 25 minutes after 12. Next one will be at 12:49. And then the next one, we're not going to write 12:62. That doesn't make sense to us. That's another hour and an extra 2 minutes. So it's going to be at 1:02 in the afternoon. Okay, last question. It says, using the results in the previous question, determine how many minutes Jordy was above his friend Gail. So if you think about it, let's look at our graph again. We want to find out how many minutes he was above his friend. So if I know this point here already and this point here already, I want to know the amount of time it took from here to here, because this is the time that he's above his friend. So I'm going to be looking at my x values and see how much time has elapsed between those. Since a sinusoidal function is an exact repetition, you don't have to do the math twice. You can if you want. I think I did in the notes, but I mean it's going to equal the same thing when you find that length of time. So my x value from the first one to the next time he sees him will be 12:25 minus 12:12. So he spent 13 minutes above his friend. And then the next time he saw his friend would be at 12:49 till 1:02. So if I figure out the difference between those times, you'll see it'll equal 13 minutes, which we should have guessed already. So in total, he would have spent 26 minutes above his friend. And that's it for that one. There's one more example in your notes. I won't go through it today, but you can look through it and try it out if you like, and then do a little bit of practice. Have a great rest of your day.